Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Coffee with Carl. I'm your host, Carl Zoellner. I'm one of the attorneys with Anderson Business Advisors. And today I want to talk a little bit about making money in the stock market. So, there's a lot of folks who've been burned by the stock market or don't want to take advantage of some of the opportunities that are out there. But what I like personally about investing in the stock market is I can be as basically as aggressive or risk averse as I choose. And so, for the most part, I actually invest through a Roth account that I set up with E-Trade several years ago. And through that account is where I make my trades. Ultimately, I tend to use our infinity investing criteria with dividend paying stocks. And I sort of go into the stocks with writing puts. And then once I own the stock, I will write calls against it until somebody buys me out of it at the designated amount that I set. So I know I won't be losing money. And then ultimately, that's just sort of wash, rinse, repeat. So that's for me, that's the safest way to make money in the market because ultimately I name the pricing that I purchased the stock at, and also I name the pricing at what I sell it at. And ultimately, if somebody doesn't take advantage of that, I still get paid for even doing the option on it as well. So, for those of you out there that are considering the stock market, I would say do. It can be still very profitable, still have fun with it, and also you have I think you have more control than you think because I didn't know before I took an infinity investing course of all the different things I could do with options and stocks and things like that. And so yeah, it's been a great learning experience. So I would encourage everybody to take advantage of it where you can. And then, like I said, I'll do trading updates every once in a while just to show everybody kind of how things are going. But for the most part, this year, like I mentioned in a previous video, I've made some Roth contributions and made some additional purchases. I've been actually very happy with my Altria this year. So that's ticker symbol MO. And then I also have quite a chunk of AT&T as well. So good dividend paying stocks is what I'm basically getting at here. On the AT&T, I tend to, just so everybody knows, I tend to put out those calls quite a ways, just because sometimes I bought in unfortunately on the AT&T at a little bit higher amount than I probably wanted to high in hindsight, but it's a good dividend paying stock. So basically, if I just wait it out and keep taking the dividend off of those 10 contracts, then I will be whole and more within probably this next year or so. So not a big deal there. I don't buy in my retirement account to dispose of stocks. I buy to hold for pretty much long term or forever. I got some advice at one point from Toby that was basically like, buy stuff and forget you own it. And quite frankly, those have been my best investments. That includes Bitcoin as well. So I've done with cryptocurrency. I basically had it auto draw from my bank account every month. And at one point, I looked in and it had almost doubled in value. And so, yeah, like I said, there is a way to do this without hurting yourself. And really, the things like Bitcoin or the more, I guess you'd call it risky, or things that you don't, there's sort of less of a trend on, you would say that's more of your sort of whatever percentage of your portfolio is sort of your fun gambling funds. So I, like I said, good thing for me at the moment because we don't know where crypto is ever going to go. But it's been going up, and it was able to help me make my Roth contribution in April, like April 13th of 2024 for my 2023 account. I have a video on that as well if anybody's got questions on how that works out. So ultimately, like I said, I like trading. Trading sort of my primary focus as far as investing goes. I do own real estate. I do own cryptocurrency, but I do like and am consistently trading. So that's sort of my, I guess, 2 cents on that. Is there is a safer way to do it? Is it going to be millions of dollars every time you make a trade? Probably not, unless you've got multiples of that $1 million to invest. But if you're looking for a safe way to grow your funds, there's lots of options out there, even in the stock market, that you can do. Some of them, like I said, I tend to use dividend king um, stocks. So, like I said, AT&T. and Altria at this point. So T is the ticker symbol for AT&T, and MO is the ticker symbol for Altria. If you're looking for, I guess, some items, it's not investment advice. That's just FYI. That's what I'm doing. Um, and so, yeah, there's some safe things, especially if you start getting into things like ETFs. There's nice little bundles of stocks that are usually pretty safe for you. So don't let any of the naysayers deter you. If you feel like you have a draw to the market, there is still a safe way to do it. If you're uncomfortable with that way at this moment, I would encourage you to link up and look up our Infinity Investing program. Like I said, that's where I started. And I actually was at one of the very first in-person Infinity Investing events, which was in New Orleans, and we got hit with a hurricane, and it was still worth going. So, like I say, if you have questions on that, I would encourage you to do some more research and just open up and look up for the Anderson Advisors Infinity Investing, and they have lots of links on how to join. And I think there's even some free memberships out there, and they'll go through even how to do real estate investing as well in there, which I could probably use a refresher on for individual single family homes and things like that. But once again, this is it for Coffee with Carl on this episode. And we will, as always, please like, subscribe, and share with a friend. And we will keep rolling. So thanks, everyone. And we'll catch you on the next episode.